Okay. Alrighty. We're going to meet this afternoon. So we can run out to Black's Bluff. I can take 3 students. The remainder will need to find a car to follow. Okay.
Word books. Yes. What?
Yeah, books.
You should see the ones in my room, and I'm still missing one. It's supposed to be here probably today. So I'll have to go check. One of them's either free. Probably asked me where you were when I went to his office earlier.
Oh, I forgot my book. I have to go get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I got my test back. Didn't give you that. One I'm on, so I think. For the first dose. Yeah.
In his class.
So, as we've been working through Module 1 in our lectures, what's the unifying topic in Module 1? What is Module 1's title?
The individual plant.
Individuals in the environment, right? So, Chapter 2, we used light. And these, of course, are characteristics or resources of the environment that are critical for plants, right? And guys, you recognize that plant ecology sets the foundation or basis for the rest of ecology in an ecosystem, right? You have adaptations of plants living in a particular area, and they are shelter, they're food, they're all kinds of things for the animal communities that live in a particular area, including fungi. All the other kingdoms kind of are dependent on how plants get established in a particular area, okay? So when we start with plant ecology, we're really looking at the basis of most ecosystems and understanding how plants end up there, right? So light is important as a resource for plants. They're autotrophic, so we need to understand how plants use light. In Chapter 2, we talked about light compensation points. We talked about efficiencies of photosynthesis. We compared different adaptations of photosynthesis depending on the environment that you might find them in. And that would be C3, C4, and CAM, right? So we were really looking at light and plants in their environment. Second chapter we looked at, actually Chapter 3 that we looked at, we dealt with okay, can I just say water? Okay. What I want to see from now on is that when we work through a module, you have been studying in a way that this becomes a cohesive unit. that it becomes one of those, okay, she said light is important. Well, yeah, water is important. We studied water. Soils, important. We're studying soils, okay? So start putting it together, because not only will I ask you questions about independent things we studied in each chapter, but I'll ask you to kind of pull things together for me. I might give you a circumstance and say, how does a plant use its light, water, and soil environment in these circumstances, okay? And now that you know more about what you would do as an ecologist, put your little plant ecology hat on and say, well, I would look at photosynthetic rates and efficiencies and see how well, what type of photosynthesis does the plant do? Is it a C3, C4, or CAM adapted plant due to the environment that I find it in? Hey, how does it use water? Remember, water is a trade-off with photosynthesis. Open the doors, water gets out. How does it manage water? How does water get moved around the plant? How do plant ecologists study water dynamics in plants? Okay, all those tools have been in your chapter reading and in the notes we've gone through. Okay, and now we're into soils, incredibly important to the ability of plants to become established and survive and reproduce. Remember, the whole kit and caboodle here is about plant reproducing, seed, bless you, we're looking at angiosperms or gymnosperms, seed-producing plants in particular, but it's not exclusive. Just thinking this way about seed-producing plants. Seed germinates, seedling, sapling, adult, above ground stuff going on, and below ground stuff going on. So that's why we're into the soils, okay? Kind of putting it all in context and making sure you kind of are gathering that information and relating it, thinking about big picture stuff here. Is this week 4 or 5? 5, that's what I thought. All right, sending around sign-in sheet. Get my alarm system up and running. I am on silent. I hope you are too. And see, I think we have left off talking about cation exchange capacity and looking briefly at profiles and types of parent material giving rise to igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic types of rock, giving rise to the kinds of soils that result from weathering of the parent rock, okay? Of course, if you live in a couple of states, Alabama versus Georgia versus Florida, yeah, you might see differences in the profiles. And profiles affect other things, hydrodynamics of the soil as well, groundwater, depth of groundwater, porosity of the soil, all kinds of things that relate to the environment, okay, describing the environment. So looking at 3 different types of parental material. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. A little easier to read. Know that weathering is done by both mechanical alteration and chemical alteration. And chemical alteration can be in terms of acid rain. Yes, that's true. But chemical alteration is actually usually accomplished by primary colonizers, mosses, fungi that colonize bare soil, bare rock, parent material, and their biological functions can result in the weathering or chemical breakdown of the rock that we find them on. You get every time I think of this, I think of volcano under ocean. Volcano comes up, you end up with a mound of igneous rock. And birds and wind and water are all going around this brand new land, this brand new island. And so we are getting colonizers that come in and start to have a successional change Did you guys study succession in your ecology courses? We have successional changes. It all starts with the primary colonizers and their effect on parent rock, weathering, creating a soil base. You can't have a seed get established if you don't have something for it to get anchored into. So we start all of that at the beginning. Now, young soils are considered young if they are from recent glacial activities where parent material is still pretty evident. New volcano island, for example. Old soils have been around for a long time, and the tropics are great examples of this. It's such a stable environment that we haven't seen a lot of change there. And finding parent rock in that area is going to be tricky unless you're on the coastal area or up in the Andes or in the mountain ranges there, right? So things to think about. How you find old soils and new. Okay, remember we talked about where is in a profile? I keep thinking this is showing up there. I'm sorry, guys. Whoa. Oh, can I actually do this with that on? Let me see. No. It's going to go top and bottom. Sorry. I was hoping this would be easier. So looking at our profile, now we know something about the origins of soils coming from parent material. Where's the young soil in this profile? This is from, it's down near the bedrock, right? This is the parent rock down here. This is accumulated soil over time. So it makes sense that accumulation is going to be, and it made sense the way you thought about it too, because you've got new deposition on top of there. That's old soil. Okay, that's not weathered material. So we're actually looking at parent rock, which has gone through some weathering, and we see zone C as the zone of least weathering because it's buried down underneath, but it is the source of where parent rock is weathered. Does that make sense? All right. So also, the way we look at this, just to be sure, the three types of parent material: volcanic, pretty clear. Sedimentary is an extremely important one. It's common to have sedimentary rock in most of our temperate regions. Deposition from weathering and erosion of other rocks. Sedimentary rocks are also due to alluvial action, where we have water, moving water, picking things up and depositing them other places. So we've got things that settle out of water columns, for example, or from moving water. But we also have glacial activity, lots of sedimentary rock. The glacier scours, there's this huge honking glacier on terrain. And as it moves, it literally underneath chomps up and scours everything that's underneath it. And as it moves into new ranges, it may begin to melt and become smaller. And as it does so, as parts of it melt, it literally is just going to drop off things that it's been carrying with it. You get these little drumlins, as we can see, little mounds, kind of like poop, little poop. You see these little drumlin hills where glaciers have moved. If you spot that on a topographic map, you can say, hey, the glacier moved in this direction. And it's teardrop shaped, so you know which direction the glacier moved, okay? Pretty cool stuff when you study glaciers. But glacier deposition is sedimentary as well, okay? So sedimentary is a big category. I wanted to impress that on you, so that you can see changes in areas. Metamorphic, of course, is where we see more buried sources of rock and more pressure and more temperature because you're deeper in the soil's environment, in the Earth's environment, I guess I should say. Now, backing up, we said your exam is on Thursday. So finishing up here,